Years ago. Hard to believe. I know.
It helps if you turn that off.
But that's okay. I had it on when I was back there talking too. So, yeah, I know.
At least you didn't take it to the restroom.
I forgot to announce Handel's Messiah sing-along Saturday, December 7th, and then also Messiah Highlights Sunday, December 8th. So information's in the back. Always fun. A little bit of culture, Christmas time, fun stuff. We have a guest speaker today. Some of you have heard him before. Some of you have not. Some of you are here specifically for him. So I'll stop talking.
Yo. You know, this happens every time. I come in, you know, and it's about half full, and I sit up here and I talk, and I don't seem to turn around, and I get up here and then poof. Where'd you all come from? Well, good morning and namaste. It's really good to be here. It's really good to be back. I've been traveling, thanks to you. Thank you very much. So the past actually 3 weeks have been a real whirlwind, so I'll try to put it all really together for you and then go on with what I'd like to talk about this morning. But let me talk about Mexico. Yeah. Interesting, beautiful, fantastic, a memory to last a lifetime. It's putting all of those things together into that particular trip. The pool water was really nice. The ocean was warmer. So guess where I was? We were really fortunate. A friend of us let us use a timeshare. We were on the top floor. When I looked out the window, if you looked on my Facebook page, that picture is actually looking at the ocean out of the window where we were staying. We had a little kitchenette because my wife has a lot of food allergies, and that was one of my biggest concerns. I was worried that if we went anywhere, she wouldn't be able to eat. But with the kitchenette, for 6.5 pesos, we could hop on the bus. We went downtown, bought a lot of groceries, and she was able to fix meals throughout the whole week that were really, really very, very good, and we enjoyed it a lot. Yes, I did go zip lining through the jungle. It was really interesting. It was about 3 hours long. I had to take the bus down to the pier where I hadn't been before, so I left really early because I'm one of those guys like, I don't want to miss this. But there was also a cruise ship that had come in the same day, and there were a bunch of people that had signed up to do the zip line from the cruise ship. So I got there early and then had to wait a long time because waiting for the other people. But we all finally got on this like big airboat. It takes you across the bay to a little village that you have to get on these all-terrain vehicles because you can't get a car down there. And it takes you up the mountain to where this place is, and after you get off the bus, or the vehicles if you will, and you go through some villages. It's really, wow, the countryside's beautiful, just beautiful. You get up there, they give you their little spiel, put you in your gear, and then put you on a mule. And then the mule takes you up the mountain. Now, I was the second person in the line, because, you know, mules kind of know where they're supposed to go, so generally the first mule is the one that's the leader. Well, the little gal that was on that mule had never been on a horse, she's never been on a mule, and my mule kept wanting to get ahead. So the lead mule, every time my mule tried to do that, she'd reach around and go, you know, like this, and then take off running, and that girl go, ah! So So I'm laughing, because mine takes off too, but I'm okay with that. But I'm laughing halfway going up this mountain, every time this mule take off, that was really funny. I thought she was going to want to go back before we even started. But we got there okay, and you zip, and it's beautiful. I mean, we're in the top of the mountains, and the first zip line, it's a double zip line, and I do ropes course facilitation, so I was always the first one in our group to go. So I never turned around to see what other people were doing. I just always would step, okay, I'm ready. And you just go. And it's about 3 hours long. So you're zipping from one station to one station. They don't let you take a camera when you're on the course because of safety reasons, but I do have some pictures, so I'll bring those. Maybe next Saturday I just might show up and maybe do some reading at the Holistic Chamber. I might do that. So I'll bring some pictures. And you get to, there's about a group of 5 to 6 people that work with you, and one takes the pictures. So they either zip ahead of you and zip pictures of you as you're coming in, or as you're going. One, I'm upside down doing all kinds of weird stuff. But you also, are you shocked? You're coming down a cliff face next to a waterfall, and you're doing that kind of thing. They had 2 water slides on the course. The first one, not too bad. The second one was called the Chiquita because it was yellow and it was long, and you're on a little pad. Got to keep your feet together, your arms like this, your head tucked like that, and off you go. So this yellow one, you go, down, and then you go into a tunnel, and the tunnel whips you around twice, and then it shoots you out. And you're doing this, and then you feel like you're going to go and do this, but you never quite do. But you're going, oh God. How did I get in this? And you can't really, if you don't put your feet together, you slow down, you get stuck, and then somebody, boom, so you got to take the ride. But actually, it was really a hoot. Went downtown. There's a church down there. It's called the Lady of Guadalupe. Beautiful church. I have pictures of the inside of it. The altar. It's all gold inlaid, and there's these beautiful statues and everything. And I walked in there and I looked at Nancy and I said, "My God, I want to do Mass in here." Really beautiful. Once again, the people were great, and there's a lot I could talk about, but I came to give you a message this morning, so I don't want to talk too much about the trip. But I will leave this with you with it. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. People are people. We are truly one family, and it's really easy to see that, and they're really very welcoming no matter where you are. So let me talk to you a little bit more about some of the other stuff that's happened. My cousin was here all last week. Her name's Lisa Cortez. If you have seen the movie Precious, she produced it. So I'm the older cousin. I'm actually the oldest cousin in the family. We have a huge family, and there's a whole bunch of them in Virginia, and they went on a family cruise. So she brought pictures of that, and I was giving pictures of her stuff. And last Thursday, my daughter on the west side came over with her 3 kids, and my daughter's here, and we had sort of like a mini Thanksgiving, if you will. And it was really good, really fun. And Lisa got to meet everyone in the family, that kind of thing. And we shared and talked a lot. I'm about 13 years older than she is, so there were a lot of things that we shared about our parents, because both of our parents are gone. So we shared some of those things. Why I'm telling you that is because it dovetails into the Mexico trip. I planned the trip so I would be there during the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is very special to them, and it's not a tourist type of a thing. What they really do is go to the cemeteries, and they honor their relatives, their ancestors that have passed on. And it's very sacred. It's very sacred. I didn't go to any of the cemeteries. I felt that would be an intrusion to do that. But there were a couple of places where we went where they had things set up so that you could see how that is done. And there's pictures of the ancestors that have passed on. And there's either 7 steps or 5 steps that they put some of the things that are special to those people. And they take the time to honor those who have passed on. And it was really, really wonderful to get that energy and feel that. I've always felt that's a special thing. And I really was appreciative of being there at that particular time. So my cousin and I, we talked about a lot of things. She asked me some things about her father because he had passed away before she really got to know him a whole lot. So we shared some of those things. She shared some things about my mother. And I found out something interesting. I'm one of those kinds of people that can drink coffee at night and still go to sleep. And I guess my mother is the same way. She could drink coffee at night and still go to sleep. I don't know how many people do that, but I do. I drink coffee all the time. Wonderful thing. I like coffee. Okay, so what happened was, as we were talking, Lisa also, she speaks and does those kinds of things, having, produced a movie, and she's done some other things. Really interesting gal to sit down and talk with. She likes to end her presentations, if you will, with the last lines, or last few lines from Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, the drum major. And I'm going to end that with that today. And there's a reason for that when we get to it. So what do I want to talk to you about today? I want to talk to you today really about connection. The connections that we have with each other. The connections that we have with our family. Those that are blood or those that are not blood. We're all really very, very connected. And sometimes I think we forget that. And in that connection, sometimes we find we get wounded, okay? And there might be a person in our family we don't want to have anything to do with or don't want to talk to. There might be a friend that we have that's done something to us, and for some reason I can't talk with that person, or I can't. If they're going to be there, I'm not going to be there. Have anybody gone through something like that? And it doesn't matter if you've gone through it on a large scale or on a small scale. It's really hurtful, and it's hurtful to you, not to them, but to you. Because really, with our connections and everything that we're doing, everything that we go, excuse me, everything that we go through here, it's not about anybody else. It's not about the other person. It's always about us. It's not about them. If you have wounds, or if you're struggling with a person, or you're struggling with a situation that you're putting on another person, it's not about them. It's never been about them. It's always about you. It's always about you. And that's hard sometimes. That's a hard pill to swallow. Because it's easier to put it outside of ourselves. It's easier to put it on something else. It's easier to say, oh, because of them, I feel this way, or you make me feel this way. I can't do this because of you. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about you. And you are beautiful, spiritual beings. And sometimes we forget that. We're these wonderful, lovely, spiritual energy beings. I need to speak up? All right. I like it when he tells me that, because I've asked him to do that. Move that up, is that better? Thank you. All right. We are really these wonderful spiritual beings, and we tend to forget it. And it's easy. It's easy to forget. Something happens, we're dealing with bills, or you go, oh, gee, I got to get to here and I don't have enough gas in my car. Just normal living tends to put a veil over what we're really doing here and why we're really here and what's really going on. And it's hard to lift that veil and be in this present moment all the time. I work at being in this moment because when I'm present, or at least try to be present, the best thing that I can do is really try to stay here. Because when I'm in this present, all of that stuff, the people that bother me, I have wounds too. Let me tell you. Look at that, I go, wounds, yeah. Yeah, I am not exempt, believe me. But I work hard at being in the present. I work hard at remembering I'm a spiritual being. I work hard at realizing the truth of life for me. And it's my truth. I come here and I share it with you. I don't expect any of you to walk out of the door today and go, well, that's my truth too. I don't know what your truth is. You know what it is. But I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that I can tell you what it is. I know what my truth is. My truth is we're all spiritual beings. We're humans spiritual beings having a human experience. And we're growing, and we're learning, and we're evolving. And we're on a spaceship. And the spaceship is called Earth. And it's going through the cosmos at a really good clip. We're moving at a fast clip. And we're going someplace. Yeah. We are actually going someplace. I don't know where that place is. But we're going there. We're definitely going there. So, what is it that we hold on to? What is it that we allow to come into our lives? What kind of wounds do we allow to come into our lives to prevent us, to stop us from living our life fully and completely and lovingly? Because it's not anybody else that's doing it to us. Okay?
Right.
It's us that does it to us. It's us. Can we stop it? You bet. Just like that. Is it easy? Hell no. Probably the hardest thing you'll do in your life is be present with yourself. Probably the hardest thing you'll do is to be present with yourself. Probably the hardest thing you're going to do is forgive yourself. How many of you ever said, oh, that's stupid? Talking to yourself. Yeah. I could put up both hands, and if I could raise my feet, well, I'm not going to show you levitation, but if I could raise both feet, yeah, really and truly. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've said that to myself. And nowadays, when I say that to myself, I stop right away and go, Chris, you know better than that. Because I do. I do know better than that. And nobody's going to correct me but me. And nobody can correct you but you. You're the only one that can do it. And you have the skill, you have the power to do it. You have everything you need. I've always truly believed, and once again, this is my philosophy, but I've always truly believed we have never been given anything in our lives that we didn't have the skill and the ability to deal with. And every single one of us is dealing with some stuff. That's a nicer S word than the other one, huh? Believe me, we're all dealing with stuff. And we will all continue to deal with stuff as we go through this wonderful thing that we call life. There's no, oh, I don't have to deal with stuff. Ha ha ha. You show me that person, I want to know them. How'd you get there? We're all dealing with stuff. It's how you deal with your stuff will dictate how you're living in this moment. Okay? If you can deal with your stuff with grace, you can live in this moment with grace and happiness and love. If you deal with your stuff with bitterness and regret and sadness, and I wish I hadda, or I wish it hadn't, you're not in this present moment. You're living the wound. You're living that wound. And that's hard to do. It's hard for me to live, and I've lived wounds. I'm not going to say that I haven't. I have. But it's hard to do. And it's hard to be present when you're living a wound. It's hard to walk outside, even with the way the fog was this morning, and the white little crystals on all the trees. It's hard to look at that and see the beauty of what that is when you're living in the womb. When you're not, when you're present, you look at that and you say, oh my God, that's beautiful, wow. And all the chemical things that happen in your brain when you're happy, they start to fire and they start to go off. And wow. But when you're in the womb, a whole different chemical thing takes place. Who's in control? Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. So, what do? You don't really have to do anything except, hey, you know what? I get it. I'm a spiritual being. I have wounds. I'm going to feel bad from time to time. But you know what? I'm not going to let it control who I am. I'm going to get on the other side of it because this is where I want to be. I want to be happy. I want to be around happy people. I want to be the person when they walk in the room, they go, oh, that person's really happy. I like being around that person. You can make the choice. It's a choice. And you can make it. It's funny, Lisa, she flew out yesterday. And she goes, Chrissy, they call me Chrissy. She goes, Chrissy, what are you going to talk about at church tomorrow? I said, I don't know. I said, I'll talk about something. And by the way, she looked at some of the YouTube things and now has a link. So we have now we have a New Yorker. You know, so hello, Cousin Paul, and hello, Cousin Lisa. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But I guess what I want to leave you with this morning is the fact that you are very powerful beings, and you have the ability to dictate how your life will go, regardless of what is happening in your life, what will be happening in your life, or what has happened in your life. You're in charge. You're in charge of how you feel. You're in charge of how you walk through your day. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to be sad. It's up to you. It's really not about anybody else. It's really about you. So let me leave you with the words. When I was talking with Lisa, and she said, well, this is one of the things I like to say. And I said, yeah, I remember that speech. And I do. He gave this speech in February 4th, 1968. It was just a few months before he was killed. And the title of the speech was The Drum Major's Instinct. Actually, it was done 2 months before he was killed. So this is just the last part of this speech. It was actually a sermon he was giving at church. And it's really beautiful if you go back and read it, but it's called The Drum Major Instinct. If you can Google it and get the whole speech. It's really pretty impactful. But wow. So let me share this. If any of you are around when I meet my day, what a wonderful, beautiful way of saying when I'm gone. If any of you are around when I meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get someone to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. Every now and then, I wonder what they will say. Tell them not to mention that I am a Nobel Prize winner. That isn't important. Mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell him not to mention where I went to school. I'd like someone to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for someone to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the question of war. I want you to be able to say that day that I tried to feed the hungry. And I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who are naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. And I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes. If you want to say I was a drum major, say I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. Say that I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have any fine or luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help someone as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show someone he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. There are among us in this congregation every single person that is sitting here capable of writing and saying and acting the words that I've just read. Every one of you. You are that powerful. You are that beautiful. You are truly spiritual beings. Never, never, never forget that.